Live streaming is on, and we are on. Welcome to a special edition of the not Pennsylvania, the United States Pirate Party. Wow, I really went wrong there for a minute. Uh, my name is Drew Bingaman. I am the captain of the United States Pirate Party. Joining me, Joe, would you like to take it away?
I would, and I even shaved for the occasion. I was going to try and look my absolute best, and I am the candidate for the Pirates in Massachusetts for the 17th Middlesex District. I am throwing my hat in the ring, and I've had a lot of good conversations with hardworking, honest people, and it's been an experience for sure. Um, I would have to say that I haven't reached nearly as many people because the district is 45,000 souls, more than 45,000 souls, and I've only spoken to a few hundred about it. So I don't think I've reached the impact that I was looking to do. However, it's a mighty big fight to go up against the incumbent, who's a Democrat in a state that is dominated by Democrats. So I looked at the balance that my competition has, and Vanna's bank account is more than what most, just to be spent on the campaign, is more than what most of the people in our district make in a year.
Oh yeah,
She has
yeah.
so if that doesn't, I mean, it's literally her entire yearly salary of what she's supposed to be making in that position in the bank account to be used. So there's absolutely no way that she's not being backed by incredibly powerful, incredibly wealthy people who are just like, we don't want you to lose to some random guy. Here's a bunch of money.
Mm-hmm.
So win or lose, I went into this whole thing knowing that I'm probably not going to win. However, I'm also not going to go anywhere. And I'm on their side election after election after election because that bar for me to get there, I don't care how high they set it. I made sure that they couldn't get me off the ballot. I made sure I had enough votes. And yeah, now I have to say that I did freeze up right at the beginning. And if it wasn't for the goodwill of Jamie to light a fire under me, I probably would have completely frozen up. But he came, he got me started. He had me start doing signatures. He a little bit held my hand and got me going. And then once I got going, I just had conversation after conversation. So I am infinitely grateful to Jamie. I am grateful to all the other people that came out and helped me uh, get this whole thing going. We
So.
even had a Chicagoland pirate out here, and I met Mitch in person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you were saying?
I was just going to say, tell us a little bit about what the process is in Massachusetts of getting on the ballot for for a state rep position like that.
Well, getting on the ballot is very similar no matter what the position is. It's just how many authorized signatures you have to get. So you go down to you go down to the state house down in the capital. So for us, it's Boston, and you get your signature forms, your nomination papers, and then you go gather signatures, and then with us, you go down to your town hall to get the verified signatures. Takes Generally it takes about a day. It's sometimes a lot less. It just depends on who's in the office. They verify the signatures that nobody else has gotten the signatures, and whoever's the first one to turn into the town office gets that signature. And then once you get all of your papers together, you then turn them in, and you don't have to wait. You can literally just go straight back down to Boston to turn them in right away. So, like for an example, in Massachusetts, it only takes 25 signatures to go for a sheriff's position.
Awesome.
It takes only 150 signatures for a state rep. For a U.S. rep, it's 2,000. Um, so I mean, it's very doable. Um, I was going every Sunday, just knocking on doors on Sundays when I really had the uh, best chance to reach people at their homes. Knock on the door, explain who I am, get get the whole signature. And so literally just knocking on people's doors, letting them have a conversation, talking politics. And what really made for me this whole experience absolutely worthwhile is I'm a working guy
Hmm.
who has my boots on the ground trying to make the world a better place. I help build schools, I help build industries, I help create jobs. And so just being a very down to earth person who wants to bring the pirate approach to politics. I literally had people who are pro Trump. I've had people that are pro Harris. Absolutely agree with me. So, and that's the whole thing that makes the Pirate Party so unique is that we are all sick of the politics
Hmm.
between what one side or the other are doing, and actually having a different alternative. I just had a lot of people really connect with me. The fact that I just want to balance the budget and make fight for transparency. Uh, and my biggest goal is just to bring transparency to politics. Seems to be seems to be such a thing that we all can just get behind.
Well, there you just answered. You just answered a couple of the questions I was going to ask. I was going to ask how many signatures did it take? How many signatures did it take? I was gonna ask what it's like your main what's your main focus, and so you took a little bit of the wind out of my sails. If that's okay, that means you're ahead of me. Uh, so.
Well, one thing I do have to say about the signatures, though, and this is something that so one of the things that say if I just got 150 signatures and turned it in, um, they my competition, especially with the resources they have, could bring those signatures to court to have them challenged, which is the
Mhm,
whole process.
mhm.
So the very people at who do the signatures told me to get extra signatures just so that and was very transparent and they were very transparent
Mhm.
um, with the whole process. Now, one of the things that really makes Massachusetts super unique is the fact that all of our numbers for campaigning is exceptionally transparent. I know how much money the person who I'm going against has spent. I see every dollar spent. I see how much is in their bank account, and you can literally see any Massachusetts politician how much money they have, where it came from, what they're spending it on, and that level of transparency really helps show how they just take the money and it just the who I'm going against literally has been bought out by the corporate interests.
Most
So
mainstream candidates are very much bought out by. I mean, and we're just talking at the state rep level. I mean, this is still very much true. I've seen it here in Pennsylvania for years. I see it in other states that I've visited when helping some other people I know with their campaigns. I want to roll back a second though and shout out the pro tip that you gave earlier for getting signatures because most of the time any third party trying to get on the ballot for anything is going to require a certain amount of a minimum amount of signatures. And the pro tip is get as many as you can. Don't just quit at right that minimum because you can have some ones that are illegible. You can have ones that get challenged in court, and the challenge process in court can sometimes be very expensive. So you want to avoid all that if you can. And
yeah,
I'm very glad to hear that you did that.
you're looking to spend at least 10 grand just to defend yourself if it
Mm-hmm.
goes to a court thing. Now, one of the things too about the whole signatures is as soon as you get the signature, I was turning them in the very next day, either Monday. So I would go out Sunday, Monday or Tuesday. Those were in town hall having them verify. So don't wait on ceremony. Turn them in right away, at least to your local town hall to get them verified. Once they're verified, they're yours.
Mm-hmm.
So that whole process, you get them in, and then once you got them all verified, you can then bring them down at your convenience down to the state house before the deadline. But one of the other things too is the Democrats and the Republicans and any other established party, Democrats or Republicans, they have the much larger time frame to get their candidates in. Whereas if you're an independent person, you only have a really small window to get those done.
So that's going to be one of those things that's going to be different in every state, right? That's the so. But as you were saying, the timelines are different. Now I can compare this to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, the third party candidates have a longer period of time to collect signatures, but we also have to collect many, many, many more than Democrats or Republicans. Um, Mainly because Democrats and Republicans have access to the primary, and that the threshold is much lower. Um, I also wanted to say about the court challenges is most most the judges that will be hearing those cases, because it's not like there's a jury there. These are decided by judges. That those judges are usually partisan to begin with. So if you're coming in as a third party, you're not going to get any favors, from whatever party is challenging you. So that is another reason you want to avoid ending up in courts defending your signatures.
Well,
So.
especially seeing that I'm in Democrat land, and if so, very likely the judges are Democrat,
Mm-hmm.
and if the Democrats challenge me, it's even more of a wallop. So one of the things that I did, the people down at the state house were like, "Well, Joe, don't give us more than 300. You only need 150."
Double, listen,
And
double is great. Like if you can get to double what the minimum is, you're almost impossible to challenge. That is an almost impossible way to overcome level to overcome as a challenger to your ballot access. So
I
that's a good way
I
to
gave them
shoot.
about 200, somewhere in the range of 250. So
Yeah,
they're not going to challenge that.
no, no.
Um, that's over 100 signatures, and especially when there's only like 10 per page.
Mhm.
Because when they're
Oh wow.
challenging them, they're challenging the individual pages.
Okay.
So they would have to hit me with a challenge on each and every single page. And at that point, when you have that many pages, it's just not, it's
Yeah,
not going to work.
the signature forms that we get in Pennsylvania are a lot longer. They're on legal, and I think there's almost 50 per page, and it's because it's front and back. They do both sides of a sheet, and they can challenge individual lines of each signature. So each signature can go. You can go through the rigmarole, and I've seen it. I had a friend who ran for mayor in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and he was challenged, and I was there at the hearing, and he was trying to defend himself because we didn't have the funds to get a lawyer to defend him, and this was Republicans that were uh, challenging him, and they had two full-time lawyers sitting there for a whole day, and it was horrible to go through that, and so um, yeah, definitely avoid that. So um, it's a good thing
Well,
to do.
it's interesting to hear the differences because our pages only go up to 26 signatures, and I think I only did up to 26 on like 2 or 3 pages.
Mhm.
But for the most part, it was really I kept it a small number just for the very sake because if I had somebody signing and they just scratched through all the
Mhm.
signatures, that invalidates all the other signatures. So
Oh, okay. So yeah, that is definitely a difference. So we're told in Pennsylvania that if you have somebody make a mistake, just put a single line through it and then use the next line. And that won't be counted as a signature. It will be when they tally it at the state house or at the local county, depending on what you're running for, they will automatically skip that signature and not count it as valid. The one that with the line through. So it's interesting how like it is interesting how these things differ, because I see what you did there. I think that was brilliant to make sure that you had a limited number on each page if the challenge process is each page. So yeah, that's these are all tips, everybody. These are tips for running for office as an independent or a third party. Because very much your rules are pretty much all going to be the same here for independents and third parties. So um, I'm
So
trying.
another thing that I learned on this, so old Marine saying, God, family, country, and I take that as get yourself right, get your family situation right, and then worry about the country after that. So in my particular instance, I had my finances right, I had my plan right, I had everything planned as far as I am concerned, perfect. What I did not account for is how much my family needs me and how much I do for my family. And so, win or lose, if I lose, my main focus is going to be on making sure that my family is a little bit more independent so that I can better invest the time
Mhm.
to get out there, meet more people, at least not have to deal with catastrophe so I wasn't cutting into my own time
Right,
that I
because
had
you
planned on.
right because you were actually out there campaigning. This wasn't just a just get on the ballot and let it go kind of a thing, right? You were out there talking to people.
Yeah, and I tried to get in front of as many people. I tried to talk politics in the most random of places. Um, but I think with my whole policy, it was more than just, hey, I'm going to tell you what you need, or I'm
Mhm.
going to sell my ideas. So, my whole concept behind politics is to listen to people, have honest conversations, hear what their needs are, hear what their challenges are, and try and come up with what would be the best solution for us all. So I was having conversations with people in Market Basket, which is our local food store. It's our big Y. Um, so having conversations with people on job sites, having conversations with people literally absolutely everywhere I could. So,
What give me a couple examples of like things that people would come and tell you that they thought were big issues for them. Like anything that you were, what you
I
talked
mean,
about.
everyone's feeling the economy.
Sure.
Absolutely, everyone is feeling the economy, the price of eggs, um, but just um, not feeling valued, not feeling properly valued by the government, not feeling that they matter. I have a lot of people who told me, "Oh, my vote doesn't matter. It's all just going to go to the establishment anyways." When this is our country, we could take it back, and absolutely every single person's vote matters. Just like the disheartening, the fact that we haven't had leadership that hasn't tried to steal from us, the fact that we have so many people that just sell out, um, and for such a long time too. And so the very fact that one of the things that people absolutely loved about my whole campaign was the fact that I wasn't accepting any monetary. The money does not buy me,
Hmm.
only the well-being of my people. So the well-being
Yeah.
of my lol people.
So, I mean, the thing is, the closer you are to you as a singular voter, the more power a single vote has, you know, and especially when you're in a head-to-head race like you are, you're the alternate. You are the, you know, if you don't like this guy that's in there in office now, well, then give me a shot. Like I find I don't understand why so many people just aren't voting protest votes when they hate who's in there now. Yeah, people
Well,
need to get out there and different
Here's the whole thing
turnover.
about. Sorry for interrupting you,
No,
Drew.
that's you're
But
good.
here's the whole thing that about Vanna is that absolutely nobody knows who she is, except for the people that read the newspaper, which is a very small subsection, um, and all the people that are already Democrats and be like, oh, yeah, Vanna, I know Vanna because she's doing this or doing that. But she's literally not on a single subcommittee. She's literally not doing, she's there to cast the vote how they tell her to cast the vote. And it's painfully honest. She's put forth a couple bills, but for the most part, she's a placeholder.
Hmm.
And so she's a weak point in the whole Democratic Party as it is. So, um, and the people who there are people who do know her who love her,
Hmm.
who are like, oh well, that's Vanna, that's my girl Vanna. But the majority of the conversations that I've had, they have no idea who she is or what she's done at all. And I think that's a huge tell right there. And the fact that nobody is contesting her, they literally threw in somebody who's not creating waves, not creating headaches, not being a thorn in anyone's side, not telling people like it is, not bringing a dose of reality. And the whole, again, going back to the whole pirate approach, the whole, hey, does this work? What evidence do we have? What's the history say? What does the data show? The very fact that we're much more realist, much more on point with making things make sense.
Right,
Um,
right. Because we have principles, but we also want to find solutions that actually work. Like that's the thing. I mean, yes, we there's things that we believe in, there's things that we absolutely are our core values, but that doesn't necessarily translate to every single policy decision. I mean, it helps with policy decisions, but it doesn't actually say, well, is this method better than another method? And that's when we have to actually look at research. We have to look at things that are we have to look at the practical side of things, because if you make stupid decisions on the sea, you go down, and that's not good for anybody on the ship.
well, that and the fact that just putting people first before corporations, putting people first before big Hollywood, big money, and all that. I mean, I understand that we have to generate the income in order to have the support structures here, but we're called Massachusetts is a commonwealth,
Mm-hmm.
and with as many people as I see suffering, I don't see the wealth part.
Yeah, it's
So,
Pennsylvania is also supposed to be a commonwealth, so we share that. We share that. I think Virginia is supposed to be a commonwealth, and there's maybe one or two others, but yeah, it doesn't really seem to work out that way. That we're actually, sharing things. That is a totally different topic. um, how when you're talking about pirate politics, so you get into a conversation with somebody, they're talking about what's important to them. Uh, what kind did you get any interesting questions about you, or anything that you
oh,
thought was interesting that maybe you'd like to share, and share how you answered it?
well, I mean, I get the common questions. What's my elevator speech? And so, my three biggest principles is transparency, and individual autonomy, and literally a fact-based approach to politics, specifically looking at a very old practice that really brought the whole world out of the dark ages, which is common law. I am a big fan of common law, what works, what policy works, especially ones that are set with precedent and history. And so I really just want to understand fundamentally why the laws are there. If the laws were inherently racist, let's do a control group. Let's find a little section. We can have a little control group. Take away that law there, like say marijuana. Let them smoke the marijuana. Do bad things happen? No. Okay, that was a bad law. All right, let's spread that around for everywhere, and just do little control groups. And we thank God for Colorado being our main drug control group area. Uh, Thank
They
you,
did start the
Colorado.
trend. They did start the trend. So
Yeah, well, it had to happen somewhere, and randomly in the mountains on a ski slope is seems as good a place as any.
works for me.
You know. Hey, so one of the ballot questions actually coming up is, and I am a strong supporter, is uh, the legalization or decriminalization, whatever word you want to use, it means the same thing, um, of psychedelics, and specifically opening up to research for those who are terminally ill. And there's been some research done on it previous, and it seems to really help the terminally ill. Um, but this would be an opportunity for us to really dive into what our ancestors seem to have already been doing for thousands of years.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, if anybody watching this doesn't know, there are some very large possibilities and potential with psychedelics. Um, even helping with certain addictions. Helping end some certain addictions, and so yeah, it's a huge thing. I think we do need research, and I think there is a huge possibility to help a lot of people with those substances that people only know for using recreationally.
well, not just that, but people with anxiety, people with post traumatic stress disorder.
Huge.
Maybe this would be
Yep.
the key to get the veterans the help that they need.
Hmm.
The people who've sacrificed everything, and we just threw to the wayside. We need to take care of those people,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
the scandals that have gone behind that. Um, so, but my big thing with my campaign that I've noticed is the vast rarity that I've had someone be hostile towards me or disagreeable to me that weren't just hostile right off the bat. Like there were people who were like, "Nope, we're walking here. Leave us alone." And it's like,
Sure. Yep.
"But okay," and then just keep going. So people will be people. You're gonna hit people that are not gonna like you no matter what you do, because the sky is blue. There's nothing you can do about it. But the vast majority of people are happy to have a conversation of politics if you're willing to listen
Hmm. And
to
I
what they
can
want to hear.
I can tell you also that if you're a balloted candidate, or your seat, or you're on your way to being there, and you have the paperwork with you, and you're upfront with people. There are a lot of people in the middle, even though it doesn't feel like it much of the time. There are a lot of people that will very much engage you and talk to you and be willing to say, "Oh, you're a third party candidate," and I same thing. I've experienced similar issues. I've only run personally at the city level, um, and when I was doing my door to door, it was very much a okay. What would you like to do? What are you looking for? Or what do my question to them is, what do you need as a citizen of the city, um, and then we'd have a conversation. And most people would, if they're willing to come to the door, they'd be willing to at least talk to you. There are some people that slam the door in my face, and you just move on, and that's just going to happen. So, but yeah, pro tip: don't argue with people. Like if they disagree with you, just let it go. It's cool. Like there's no reason to argue, especially if you're asking somebody for their signature, and they say no, then I mean you can still have a conversation if you want to, but thank them and tell them to have a great day, because there's no reason to make this hostile. There's no need to be hostile.
Well, one of the big things, and this actually kind of brings me back to the policies, is one of my big policies is as a government official, I want to just leave you alone. I want you to leave people alone to do what they do. If you're not harming anyone, and you're being an active and positive impact on society, I love you.
I mean,
Just
honestly, I want to leave the grumpy people alone too. I mean, that's so let them do their thing too. So, but yeah,
well, that's just it. If you're not hurting anyone with your actions, you're not causing disturbances, and or even if you are causing a disturbance, but it's not actually causing harm to people,
hmm
like that's decency, privacy. There are certain things that government should not be interfering with whatsoever, and like the individual going, then that rolls back into the individual autonomy, where people just need to the right and dignity of themselves having control over themselves. So there are certain things that the government just shouldn't touch,
yeah,
and so
absolutely. So, I guess I mean we've gone for about a half an hour. So I'm going to give you a wrap up, and then we'll call it an evening because I think this has been really good.
well that,
So,
well, if anything, I have to say I'm definitely win or lose. I'm going to be running again, and I think one of the things that the Pirate Party has had is a lot of people come in, run once, and then they're done. And unfortunately, I'm kind of like the bubble gum stuck on your shoe. I'm just not going anywhere.
well,
Um,
running for office is not for everybody. I will definitely say that. And being in leadership in a third political part, a third party. Uh, the other thing that a lot of people don't quite understand is there are roles for everyone. There are things that everyone can get involved in if the Pirate Party is the party of your choice, or if the Liberal Party is the party of your choice, or if the Working Families Party is the party of your choice. Uh, we've all got things that everybody can contribute to. So yeah, and running for office, even though it's highly encouraged, it is definitely not for everybody. So don't feel bad if that's not your thing.
well, the other thing about it too is there is a large variety of offices that you can fill.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
one of my
yep.
fav- one of my favorite people, Steve from the Massachusetts Pirates, he ran for office, or he has an elected position that has been uncontested. He just went down to the local town office, and there's tons of work. There's tons of things that you could be doing to help contribute. That it may seem like a small role, but all those small roles have a huge impact, and there's so much power at the local level.
hmm
Um, it doesn't have to be a council member. There's just so much to be done that could be done. I know here in Lowell, there's a position where you could be in charge of the library, preserving our knowledge for future to come. Um, and they're always looking. There's literally lists of things of open positions. So there's many levels, whether it's state level, whether it's national level, but the whole point is, or even within the party, we have
hmm
positions open.
Absolutely. Yep. I would say definitely there. What you're saying about some of those lower level positions, a lot of those, if they go vacant, you can get appointed to them just by like filling out a form and showing interest. So that's also something that you don't have to necessarily run for office, but you can still be appointed to an office.
Actually, I found out a very interesting fact on this journey this year. Ambassadors oftentimes are appointed by people who are just willing to do the job.
hmm
So if you want to be the ambassador to Zimbabwe, you just have to ask for it.
I don't know that I want to. I do have. Wait. I have a lot of trillions of dollars from Zimbabwe. These are $50 trillion bills from 2008. They're like not worth
Wait,
the paper they're printed on, but I got lots of
why?
Zimbabwe money because it's ridiculous. Because this is a $50 trillion bill. It's ridiculous because it's
It,
just sort of showing the ridiculousness of inflation. You know. Anyways, I just
that's
found that
interesting.
hilarious.
That's interesting to have, but I mean, a lot of positions in government are simply done by there's not enough people in politics to do the job that politics require.
hmm
And so it really there is a power vacuum.
Yeah.
And so but all everybody wants these key positions, And the people that they're having fill these key positions tend to be the people who just toe the party lines. And so the fact that we're challenging one of these positions, and I plan on continuing to challenge this position for the foreseeable future and continue to let people know who I am, what I'm here to do, why I'm here to do it. And I think that, especially seeing that I come from a very well educated background and I know how to use them words good, um,
Words good.
and realize that those words good and use logical thought and take a no nonsense approach is kind of a breath of fresh air to a lot of the people I've had a conversation with. And my one failing with this campaign is I wasn't able to get in front of enough people, but I that's why I'm going to just continue to go until I've talked to literally everyone in this district. And so everyone knows who I am. And that is my overall goal for the years to come. So,
Awesome. And hey,
um,
so moving on from tonight, you'll have this to share with people. Like you can give them the URL to our YouTube channel and say, "I did a half hour plus interview with, and that we talked about everything." So,
well, here's the thing I've done too is my website has a link. So I hand out my website. It has a link not only to myself, but the Massachusetts Pirates, the U.S. Pirates, and Pirate Party International, all linked in. So
well,
I've done this from.
how about you give us the URL for your website? Why don't you plug it for us?
It's honorosky.org.
And how do you spell that, Joe?
Put an H as in honor, drop the H, and add OSKI. You just have to add a little Polish to honor.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. So yeah, go out to it's honorosky.org. Is that right? Is that
Yeah. So
yes?
honor
Great.
without the H, OSKI.org.
We'll get out there and check out Joe's website. Check out the U.S. Pirates Party. The U.S. Pirates. We're uspirates.org. uspirates.org. If you are in Pennsylvania, we're papirates.org. And if you get on uspirates.org, check out there is a join page which gives you links to our a lot of our online stuff, so you can get all the links there. And like Joe said on his website, he's got links to the Mass Pirates and links back to the U.S. Pirates as well.
Yep.
So
And the international pirates. So if you actually go all the way down to the bottom, you can get links to PPI, you can get links to the U.S. pirates and the mass pirates, and you can sign up for our newsletters. You can find out where we are. We have access to our wikis, and you can literally. We're so transparent that every single thing that we've ever done, including me getting kicked off of as the U.S. Captain of the U.S. Pirates, is all in there. All of our history, all the colorfulness, all the shenanigans, everything for you to read. And we don't really we are the politicians. We are the politicians that are doing the politics that we want to see happen. So, and transparency is the opposite of corruption. It
absolutely.
doesn't mean that everything I've done is right, but I've learned from everything that I've done, and I've learned from all the mistakes that other people have done. And I think that's a better lesson than, you know. But Drew, thank you for your time. Thank
Thank
you
you for
for
your
having me.
time. I know you've been busy, and we've been talking, trying to get this together for a little while. Um, just so everybody knows, we will be doing a an election night kind of wrap up, probably around 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to depend because here's a shocker to everybody. I'm a poll worker, so I gotta work till the polls close at 8, and then we got to deliver the votes to the county seat. So I won't even be around until probably around 9 or 9:30. So, but
And I myself will be sitting at the polls so that I can meet people as they're going in to vote. So, with the
eh,
pirate flag and sign and in my best Sunday wear.
awesome. And that's a great thing to do is to go out there and actually meet the voters as they're going in to vote, shake their hands, and ask for their vote. So thank you, Joe. I really appreciate it. I think this conversation was awesome. and this will be a great video to share with people moving forward to say, well, what is the Pirate Party about? Well, here's one of our state rep candidates that came on and to tell you about his campaign, and I think there's some good information that we shared with everybody to give everybody a little bit of an idea of what it's like to run a campaign like you are doing right now. So,
Well, one of the big things that I would just want to leave you on is if you don't like the way politics are done, change it. Do it. Do
absolutely.
something about it.
And get out there and vote Pirate, darn it. Everybody have a good night. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.